a former fighter pilot who was arrested in Jeffersonville was ordered to stay with his sister in Minneapolis, Minnesota until his trial. Gerald Brown is charged with breaking U.S. law by training Chinese fighter pilots. While he has not entered a formal plea, his lawyer says he plans to fight the charges to clear his name. Today, the judge added a surety bond on Brown, which is currently being negotiated by the lawyers for both Brown and the government. He'll be required to stay at his sister's 24 hours a day, cannot access the internet, and cannot be within 10 miles of an airport. She's also required to place security cameras at her own home.